Yeah, good. Good afternoon, everyone, and I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Town Council of the Town of Clarkdale for Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 at 3 p.m. in the Clark Memorial Clubhouse. Sorry for the windows all being taped up. We're still painting and doing work on the clubhouse building, which so far looks pretty darn good outside if you can see the paint job and stuff. So it's going to be beautiful when it's done. Roll call. Vice Mayor Hunsetter. Here. Councilmember Babbitt Pierce. Councilmember O'Neill.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Present.
And please note that Mayor Prudhomme-Bauer is here. We have a quorum. I suspect Councilmember Babbitt Pierce is on her way. The next item, 3, here she is now. That's okay, Marnie, we got you. The next item is public comment. The town council invites the public to provide comment at this time. Members of the town council may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later time. If you're interested in making public comment on items not on the agenda, please just raise your hand. I'll invite you up to the podium. If you're online, just put it in the chat for our town clerk pro tem. Is that a good way to say it? She will let you into the meeting to make comments. So at this time, is there anybody interested in giving public comment?
None online.
No, nobody's online. Anybody in the audience? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is reports. In the packet online are reports on our building permit report, grants report, magistrate court report, parks and recreation report, police department report, Humane Society report, water and wastewater report, and finance report. Are there any comments from council on any of the reports? I just want to note again, if you, for the audience, take time and look through some of those reports. I think it's always important to see where we stand with all of our departments and what's going on around town. I do want to note again in the finance report that you will continue to see that our local sales tax numbers are still down, not as much as we saw the previous 2 months, but we still see some softening of our sales tax numbers. So I'm going to remind everybody is to buy online. Okay? So buy your stuff online, everything you can, because guess what? We get that sales tax. So that's really important. And we're seeing our state income tax at about 25% decrease from what we've seen previous years, and that will probably be more of a constant since we now have a flat tax for income tax. Others look a little bit better than we thought, but we're still seeing some loss of revenue year over year. Anything else? Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to consent agenda. There are 3 items on consent today. The first one being approval of the minutes of the Common Council for May 13th, 2025. The second one is an intergovernmental agreement for a school resource officer agreement with Clarkdale Jerome School District. This is just a renewal of it. And the third one is an acceptance of deed of dedication for the Valley View Cemetery. And this is just some slivers of land that we need as part of the whole project for the recharge. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Just on the renewal of the agreement with Clarkdale Jerome School, that had
Yes.
more to do with the grant that was received so
Thank
that
you.
they wouldn't have to pay what we originally contracted for plus the grant amount. So that was the clarification on that.
Thank you for that clarification on that one. So with that, council members, do you want to pull any items for further discussion on consent? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Hunsetter and seconded by Councilmember Babette Pierce to approve the consent agenda items A through C as presented. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. All those opposed, hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. Let's move on to new business. Our first item today is Clarkdale Jerome School check presentation. What is this about? Well, remember a couple weeks ago, we had the Shred-a-thon. And this is something we've done for about 4 years now. Is that 3 or 4? 3 years. And that's an opportunity for all of us to bring our papers that need to be shredded, and our town clerk, Charity Brooks, who is not here today, she's on a lovely vacation, arranges to have our shredder come, and we let people drop off all their shredded material for a donation. And with that donation, we give all the money that we collect, we give all the money to Clarkdale Jerome School. So I would like Matt Schumacher to please come up. He's the superintendent to Clarkdale Jerome School District. Come on. Then you can talk. First, first of all, I'd like to present this check for $606 to the school. It's actually $7 more than last year. So we'll be doing better each year. How's that? Thank you so much. And if you want to say a few things, that would be great.
Sure.
Just state your name and where you're from.
You can,
My name is Matt Schumacher, Superintendent of Clarkdale Jerome School District. There we go. Matt Schumacher. Now my teacher voice comes out. Superintendent of the Clarkdale Jerome School District. And I just want to extend my thanks to the council, the mayor, vice mayor, and it was great seeing you at the promotion ceremony. But really just a statement of the partnership that we have between the town and the school district. It's interwoven in so many things that occur throughout the year. It's a genuine relationship where we're all working in the same direction just to create a wonderful place for people to live and grow and raise their families. And so these funds will be used to support student incentives. As you know, we've got some pots, but they're very limited in how you can move certain dollars around in the state of Arizona. And so donations like this give us a lot of flexibility to create little opportunities for kids to find a little extrinsic motivation along with the intrinsic motivation that we try to impart on them every day. So once again, my appreciation to the council. It's a great event, and I look forward to continuing to collaborate in any way, shape, or form that we can. So thank you. And thank you, Town Manager Susan, as well.
Thank you so much, Matt, for coming. I understand on that day, there was a whole line of cars waiting at 7 a.m. in the morning. I think one of the first cars had 35 boxes of paper.
Wow.
And so they gave a nice donation for that, but that's how much people wait for this event to happen every year.
Well, that's great. And we just thank you for thinking about the school district and being a great partner with us.
You're welcome so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the next item, which is item B, the adoption of a tentative budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. This is for us to discuss, consider and act upon adoption of the tentative budget in the amount of $47,384,536. And I believe Town Manager Guthrie is going to do the presentation on this.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Shell, I'll probably ask you to flip slides for me, okay? Thank you. Okay, So several of you have heard this presentation probably multiple times now, so I apologize, but there are new people in the audience. So I want to make sure that we go through it so everyone can hear the same information. So first, we just have obviously our council members. Is it not working, Shell? Okay. So I just, really want to stress how much staff is very thankful to council because this council really puts in the work to make sure that they understand the budget, that they're very much a part of it. I think our first budget work session was 9 hours long, and they stayed the entire time and went through this budget line by line by line. So just to begin with, thank you very much for all of your help with that. Go ahead, Shell. The next slide, I had some feedback from somebody just saying, why do we have to wait until the very end of the presentation to hear what your budget is? So this is a really quick down and dirty summary of the numbers from each of our funds. And you can see here that our budget in the current year was $43.6 million, and in the coming year is $47.3 million. The majority of that difference is in the grants fund. So that's where you're really seeing those increases in budget. So in terms of timeline, the staff start working on the budget in December and January. We disseminate to them their budgets and they have to work through those, resubmit them to us, the city manager's office. We get property values in February and March so we can determine what our property tax revenue is going to be. We hold strategic planning sessions with both the public and the council to nail down our strategic plan because that's really what drives the budget. And then in April, we start our work sessions with the council and the leadership team. And of course, the public is invited to participate in all of those meetings. If we were going to do fee increases, that's normally when we would post them. Then in May, where we are now, we do a public hearing and council adopts a tentative budget, which is what we're doing today. This really establishes the upper threshold. So we can lower the budget after this, but we cannot raise it any higher. And we have placed all of our ads in the newspaper as required by law. And then in June and July, we actually hold our public hearing for the final adoption of the budget, and our resolution for the property tax rate occurs in the first meeting in July. So I'm not going to read the vision, mission, and our values. They're in this presentation, but I really want to stress how much we focus on our vision and mission to really hone in on what are we supposed to be doing for our residents, and then how are we supposed to be doing that? And that really comes from our core values. And you can see just as a nod to some of the history of Clarkdale, the acronym is COPPER. Okay, this is really my favorite slide in this whole presentation, not all the numbers, but this really shows how all the things that we do are interrelated. So you can see we have our general plan, which the public participates. There's a steering committee to help adopt that, and we periodically, either every 5 or 10 years, update that. That leads to our strategic plan, which I mentioned earlier, which we normally do in February because that helps drive what we're going to do in our budget. And you see to the left, CIP. Those are our capital improvement projects. The strategic plan really drives what ends up on the CIP. And it also drives what's going to be in the budget. The strategic plan is tracked through a project matrix. I think right now she's going to hold up a sample. It's 10 pages long, and it's every single project that's in our strategic plan and what the status of that project is, who it's assigned to, what money is needed, etc. So, and then all of our strategic plan items, if you look at our agenda, there's a section that says, what goal does this item on the agenda meet? And so every single agenda item is correlated to a goal in our strategic plan. Because if you can't pick a goal, you got to kind of say, why are we doing it? And, there occasionally is something that's just regulatory, but generally it does tie back to the strategic plan. These are our goal areas for our strategic plan. Number one is enhancing the quality of life for residents, businesses, and visitors. Goal area 2, enhance the quality and availability of parks, rec, and cultural opportunities. Goal area 3 is strengthen and diversify our economy through cultivating a business-friendly climate for business attraction and strategically capitalizing upon tourism. Goal area 4 is plan for the maintenance and growth of quality infrastructure that is sustainable and resilient. Goal area 5, strategically invest in organizational development to enhance efficiency and service delivery and to attract and retain an exemplary workforce. Hugely important in these times, as many of you know. Goal area 6, this is our newest goal area. We really just wanted to focus very heavily on this area, so council chose to add it as a separate goal this year. And that is to adopt water conservation strategies that result in no drawdown in the aquifer and no degradation of Verde River flows. That's the goal. Okay. Some of the budget assumptions for this year, staff is proposing that we keep the tax rate, the property tax rate, the same as it was in the current year, which is 1.344. This results in an increase in the levy of a little over $61,000, but it does require truth in taxation, and we have everything ready for those at publication in the paper and a special public hearing. You can see the chart on the right. This depicts our historic property tax rate since 2021. And you can see that every year we've been able to lower it thanks to growth in our community. But this year we are recommending that it remain flat. And the reason we made that choice is the mayor mentioned that sales tax are a little stagnant right now. We haven't had a lot of development this year. And state shared revenues, the state legislature passed a measure that prohibited cities from collecting tax on rental properties, which we had historically done. That was a result of about $150,000 that had to be cut from our budget. The mayor also mentioned the state adopted a flat tax, which it impacted our state shared revenues by about 25%. So some pretty significant hits. And then still pending right now is the disposition of a bill that was in the legislature that was food tax. For us, it's probably going to be about a $50,000 hit if it passes. I think for Cottonwood, it's $4 million hit. So really significant impacts to municipalities by decisions that are made on the state level. Let's see. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. A few other budget assumptions. Health and dental insurance increased 10%. I think I shared with you that it was originally 12. We met with them and were able to negotiate it back down to 10. But we are still going out and doing a lot of research about if there's other better options for us for next year. Property and liability insurance, we budgeted at 12%. We think it's going to be significantly less than that. But we went ahead and left this baked in because we are, as you know, we just got a grant for 2 police vehicles that are electric. And we'll have to add those to our insurance plus the additional charging station. So we went ahead and left that money baked in at this point. Pension contributions, ASRS went down from 12.27 to 12%. PSPRS went from 24.27 down to 21.27. Again, a lot of that has to do with market performance, but also actuarial that indicate that we're on track to do exactly what your goals are. We budgeted $27.3 million in capital improvements. 5.1 million of that are from fund balance. You know, this is money that the town has saved up over the years, and we now are using it for very important projects. And then 22.2 million are from grants, plus donations and other additional sources. So the general fund revenues, I always like to show this slide because I think a lot of people, you know, think about property tax and that's the main thing that funds local government. But in reality, you can see that property tax is, just a small piece of the pie. That yellow piece of pie is intergovernmental, which is mostly state shared revenues. So when those go down, it really impacts us. The far right, local taxes, that is sales tax. So you see that is a big chunk of our budget. And so I'm going to say it again, even though the mayor already said it. Please, if you can't buy it in Clarkdale proper, please order it online. Because we get the sales tax when you pay online, but we don't if you go to Cottonwood. If it's delivered, thank you. So if you buy online and it's shipped to your home, we get the sales tax. So it's really important. I think I get couple 3 or 4 deliveries from Amazon a day, everything from toothpaste to deodorant and anything I can buy online. So please do that. General fund expenditures. Here's another slide. I like to point out a few things. Police makes up 25% of our general fund budget. And general fund is anything that's supported by tax revenues. So property tax that we bring in around 700,000 does not even cover the police department's operations. So I just always like to reinforce that property tax doesn't cover as much as one would think that it does, that sales tax plays such an important role in funding operations. This slide, I just like to point out, and the reason I included it this year is if you look under the column for 23, 24, I have it circled in the yellow box. You see that our budget from state shared revenue was $1.2 million. And in the current budget that we're now gonna hopefully adopt the tentative today, it's only $976,000. So you see almost a $300,000 cut right there. And then on local sales tax, you can see that in 23-24, we budgeted 3.1 million, but we're only budgeting 2.7 million because that is what's realistic right now based upon what we're bringing in. So, and this is an unusual thing people will probably say in government, but if you look at the total major revenues, you're seeing that in 23-24, our total budget was 6.2 million in revenues. And this year we're budgeting at 5.6 million in revenues. So very significant cuts in the budget, which means we have to find other sources of income to do what y'all want us to do for you. This slide just digs into sales tax a little bit. The brown line is, or the brown bar, excuse me, is this year's revenue. So you can see in almost every month, we're tracking below last year's sales tax revenues. The green line is construction in 2024, and then the yellow line is 2025 construction. So, every time that we turn down a project or make it difficult for somebody to come and build here, or the economy slows down, or the interest rates increase, construction decreases, which is a big part of our local sales tax revenue. And kind of digging into where do we get sales tax from? What kind of categories? You can see contracting prime is that teal box, and that's construction. So when you don't see any construction going on, big hit to our revenues. Retail 23%, and then the blue piece of pie at the top, the lighter blue, is remote retail sales. So those are online retail sales. Okay, where do your property taxes go? So you pay a property tax bill, and only, let me make sure I get the percentage right, 11% of your property tax comes to the town of Clarkdale. The rest is dispersed to other taxing entities. So Yavapai County gets 13%, Clarkdale Jerome School District 18%, Mingus Union High School 16%, Yavapai College, 12%. So even the college gets more of your property tax than the town does. And the Verde Valley Fire District gets 27% of your property tax bill. This next slide just dug in a little bit. This is really provided to the council in one of the earlier work sessions where we were trying to decide what to do with the property tax rate. And we really were looking at what would be the impact in terms of additional revenue, but also not making an increased burden on our taxpayers. And this is really where the council made the decision to go with the flat tax rate. Okay, general fund budget, just a few things. We have a decrease in the local revenue. We've talked about that with the sales tax and the decrease in state revenue. We did put in a 4% COLA market adjustment. That is about what we're benchmarking. There's some cities going as high as 10%, but most are in the hunt with us around 3 to 4%. We have a decrease in community development, mostly because we aren't filling a vacant position and we're moving some of those expenses into the townwide budget. We did create a fleet department. It's not fully funded at this point, but it was the beginning steps of really being able to get a better handle on how we're maintaining our fleet and when we need to buy new vehicles. And we did increase the contingency to $2 million. Council has heard me say this a lot. In other states, you can amend your budget mid-year for an emergency. In Arizona, you may not. And with the volatility in the market recently, we really felt like it was important to put this. Additionally, we have 2 federal grants right now. And, you know, there's a lot that's been happening with federal grants, whether being canceled or, you know, just issues with them. And so we needed to make sure that we had the money to cover our expenses. So we did put this increased amount in contingency this year. Enterprise funds are funds that are not supported by tax revenues. So they generate their own income, so they operate somewhat like a business. So if you look on this chart, the 4 that we typically talk about as enterprise fund are the cemetery, sanitation, which we outsource, wastewater, and water. And you can see that our revenues have, you know, modestly increased each year, nothing dramatic, just eking up. In terms of expenditures, they have gone up much more. This is a 1-year image, but what we really wanted to demonstrate with this slide is how much we're spending on capital projects. So the brown part of the bar are capital projects and the teal part are operations. So we're really investing in our infrastructure right now. We are getting a lot of grants to do that, but also we have a lot of money that we've saved over the years to make sure that we'd be able to do this. So capital projects, I've sorted them by goal area, and that was really to demonstrate that we're trying to make sure that we're addressing every one of our goal areas that with our CIP. So in goal area 1, and you can see in the brown box, it reminds you of what that goal is. But some of the examples of things are we're updating our tasers and body cameras. We're doing a rehab of the exterior of Town Hall, which is the admin building. We're doing this building right now. We are doing new windows at the Community Development and Public Works building. That's actually being done right now. This is budgeted in case we don't finish by the end of the fiscal year, and then flooring. In goal area 2, which is parks, we're putting a monument sign at Copper Penny Park. Biggie is finishing Selma Mangini Park. We did get an additional $500,000 grant from the feds. So now we're at $1.5 million from the feds, $500,000 for the state. And then the town did a capital campaign and are covering all the rest of the costs. So we're planning to have that done by probably early or late summer, early fall. Okay. We also put in additional money in our replacement program for playground equipment. Things are always breaking, and doing additional work in trails, partially grant funded. In goal area 3, which is the business development and our economy, we're continuing to fund tourism marketing, and we only use hotel occupancy tax to fund that operation. And we apply for a grant through the Arizona Office of Tourism every year, and they match 1-to-1 our expenditures. We're completing our code revision and doing our housing study. We will continue funding our retail strategies contract to help us with retail recruitment. And we are gonna finish the design for the Bitter Creek Bridge. And as you know, we got a $6.3 million grant to build that bridge. And we actually have a little open house planned for after this meeting with boards in the back. And the engineers are here to talk about that with you if you're interested. And the last item on this is Luke Lane Road Improvement. We have applied for where's DK? I know he's here, $1.2 million grant for Luke Lane, right? Yes, Lou's saying yes. So we have applied for a grant for that, so it's not coming out of taxpayer dollars, but we are funding that. Goal area 4, $690,000 additionally for our pavement preservation program. If you recall, in the current year, we spent $1.6 million. So we're just continuing on with that methodology. We did the complete pavement condition index to determine what streets needed it the worst, and we're working through that list. Clarkdale Parkway improvements, it is under design right now. We had gotten a grant for that, and we have budgeted for an additional $900,000 to put in that sidewalk, curb, and gutter. And we will apply for a grant for that, or it could be developer funded if those parts of the road get developed. Cement plant road improvements, that is also under design and was also a grant that we received for the design. And so DK has already submitted a grant for a raise/build grant for the $4 million that will cost to actually construct. We haven't heard on that one. Lower Centerville Road improvements, Third North Sewer, we actually are starting any day now. I think we've had a pre-construction meeting today on that, and that's replacing the sewer line on Third North. Sludge drying beds, lift station. So a lot of things, small things for the wastewater treatment plant. Goal area 5, this is organizational development, probably the hardest thing to make everyone understand. But truly, if we didn't have the team that's pictured in that image up there, we wouldn't be getting done half the things that we are. It really is a convergence of a lot of very experienced staff members that are making things happen. So you see, we're doing the COLAs, we're continuing to work on succession planning and career laddering. And what I mean by that is we don't want people to have to leave the organization to move forward in their career. So we're trying to create a ladder so they can continue to move up in the organization. We're going to continue outsourcing wastewater treatment, town engineering, and solid waste. We feel like from a efficiency standpoint, those are the biggest bangs for our buck. And then fleet replacement, we budgeted $204,000, but we ended up $89,000 of that probably won't be spent because we just got a $241,000 grant for 2 electric vehicles, so we probably won't spend the $89,000. And goal area 6, which is really focused on water, is a whole list of projects. I'm just going to hit a couple of them. We got a $900,000 grant to do a cemetery recharge project. We're very excited. It'll help with drainage in Lamplighter, but more importantly, we'll be recharging the aquifer. We got a $1 million grant from the EPA to do a whole design of our water campus, which is a new well and a new water storage tank, a redundant arsenic treatment plant. So that's under design currently. We just got another grant to design purple pipe that's bringing effluent to our parks so we don't have to use fresh water, this highly treated effluent. Let's see. Haskell Springs North Tank rehab is actually underway right now. So we might finish that before the end of the fiscal year. We are already drilling the new cemetery well. It's actually deepening the existing well in a hope that it will be high performing to be able to be a redundant source of water for the town. And then we have arsenic treatment plant improvements and several other projects. I just want to touch on grants for a moment because you heard me say grant a lot. Clearly our $7 million in general fund revenue does not even begin to touch all these projects, the $23 million that we are doing. So we've really put a big emphasis for our whole team on getting grants. So you can see in the last 3 years, we have applied for about $37.6 million in grants. To date, we've received about $15.2 million in grants, but we still have a lot of applications we just haven't heard on yet. So that could really go up, but it's a team sport. I always say that. DK is our grants writer and he really leads the coordination of the effort, but everyone has a hand in preparing and writing these grant applications. Key dates, you can see what's already passed today. We are at the May 27th meeting, and this is where we adopt a tentative budget setting our upper limit. On the 24th of June is where we'll actually, you guys will vote to adopt the final budget. We'll have a public hearing. And then on 8th of July, we actually pass the ordinance setting the property valuations and adopting the property tax levy. And I know that was very long. Thank you for your patience, and I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have.
At this moment, if there's any, I'll open up to public comment if anybody has any questions about the presentation. We've seen this. This is our third time, I think it is now. And it's always wonderful to see it. We do like, we really do like the budget. All of us go, yeah, we've been in this for months now, but we believe very strongly in the connection of our strategic plan to the budget and vice versa. They all work together, and our CIP. Every project we do is tied somehow to our strategic plan. So if you're welcome to come up and ask questions. If I see no one coming up, we'll go ahead and open up for council comments. I see budgets are like high on everybody's list. Okay, I see no one coming up. So council, do you have any questions or comments to make at this time? Yes, Marnie.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank the town manager and all the town staff for putting so much work into this and really making it easy for us to understand, and really prioritizing the things that the council has told you are the priorities. So taking care of our infrastructure, taking care of our people, creating a strong community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for town manager? Yes, Laura.
It's more of a comment than a question. It's echoing a bit of what Councilmember Babbitt Pierce just said. This process doesn't get a lot of glitz and glam. It doesn't get a lot of attendance usually from the town, from residents. But it is the number one thing that we as council members are responsible for, making sure that the town is fiscally sound. And that we live in a community with 100-year-old infrastructure where there's always an emergency. It is crucial that we have the flexibility and that we have the forethought to think about what we might need, because all through the year, as Town Manager Guthrie said, we're not allowed to amend the budget. So we have to sort of plan for what might happen. We plan for what we hope will happen. We plan for what we know will happen, and we plan for what might happen. So when the well goes down or something particularly in our infrastructure happens, that we are nimble enough to be able to respond to that. And I think it's probably a blessing and a curse of the Arizona state system of budgeting, right? Because if you could change it, you may not be as prepared for things that you didn't know may or may not happen. So I think it feels like a burden, but I think for us, it fits into our model of really trying to be proactive on how we're trying to approach what we're doing. So, and thank you to all of the staff who have worked so diligently on this. It really is a pleasure to read through.
Any other comments? Hearing none, yes. To staff, thank you always to get this together. Presentation is always really shows how much work and effort goes into all of this. And for those in the audience, this is what we live by every single day. We don't make these numbers up. This is staff working to put their best work forward of how to accomplish these projects. We work hard to find the monies, whether it's within our budget we have, or if it's grants, or it's with our fund balances. But we try to, it all comes together in our budget, our capital improvement plan, our strategic plan. I can't even say that enough, how it all works together. And so when these projects come to us up here at council, we've seen them for a whole year. We know what to expect. So it's not out of line unless it's something that is an emergency. And then if it's an emergency, we all know it immediately because we didn't see it in the budget. We know immediately, we know we have the funds to be able to handle that. And that's what's really important. It makes me as a mayor feel comfortable that we are taking care of the things that are important to our town, because our residents tell us water, we want to make sure we've got clean water. We want to make sure our sewer works. We want to make sure we have roads that aren't falling apart as bad as some other communities. We try to take care of that we have good parks. We have more parks than probably any municipality in all of the Verde Valley. So, or the state even, per capita. But we tried that because that's what residents tell all of us that are important. So we make sure we're taking care of that. I can't say it enough how important this somewhat daunting presentation is. But as you'll see today, I hope you'll be able to say, we've got the bridge over Bitter Creek is going to be before us for the first time. That's a huge commitment by this town. That's a $6 million project, $6+ million project. That's important for the long term for this town. So those are things that we've seen, we've talked about, but we want to say to you, yeah, we know about it. So if you see us on the street and you say, why are we doing whatever in a park or on a street, we'll be able to tell you because we know this budget pretty darn well. If we don't know if we don't know off the top of our head, we can tell you where to get the information and we'll get it for you. So with that, thank you staff again, getting us through another budget year. And if there's no other comments, I'll take a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt the tentative budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $47,384,536.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Babbitt Pearson, seconded by Vice Mayor Hunsetter to adopt the tentative budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $47,384,536. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We have a tentative budget. Thank you all. Okay, let's move on to item 6C, which is a reclaimed water line design. This is an additional services agreement to discuss, consider, and act upon a proposal from the town engineer, Ardura, for the design and all the engineering for the reclaimed water line for Selma Mangini and Town Park for an amount not to exceed $220,000. And Public Works Director Lou Anderson will be here to speak.
Thank you, Mayor, members
Thank
of
you.
council. Appreciate it. Yes, this agenda item, reclaimed water line design, and we do have an ASA from Ardura. This agenda item supports the following strategic goal: Area 4, plan for the maintenance and growth of quality infrastructure that is sustainable and resilient. And goal area 6, the new goal area, adopt water conservation strategies that prevent negative aquifer impacts and no degradation of the Verde River flows. Per our mission of sustainable and resilient planning for the future and our vision of sustainable enhancing our infrastructure, this project represents a critical investment in our innovative water management and environmental resiliency. Upon completion of this project, we would immediately, well, if we built it, this is just the design, but once we build the purple pipe and get that to our town park and Selma Mangini, we would save approximately 7 acre-feet per year of potable water. We've also talked to the town engineer based on our conversations about also designing in a reclaimed fire hydrant on the north side of the bridge potentially, which they don't have a hydrant over there near the railroad. So that'll be part of this design. And he believes for the dollar amount, we will also be able to design up to the cemetery, which we use potable water to irrigate a portion of that property. So with that, I wanted to say that Virginia wrote this grant, Virginia Smith, Assistant Public Works Director, and DK helped with the submittal. And we were awarded $165,000 of the $220,000. So out of town's cost share, we'll have $55,000 there. So for budget impact, we're going to use a portion of the amount that we had already budgeted for $750,000 for the Third North Sewer project. Well, that's where our $55,000 will come from. And then, of course, the grant award from WIFA. So if you wish, staff recommends that council approve the proposal from the town engineer Ardura for the design and all engineering for the reclaimed water line for Selma Mangini and Town Park, and authorize town manager to execute all documents and to approve change orders not to exceed a total budget of amount of $220,000.
Great, thank you. Questions from council? Yes.
Thank you, Lou. It's really exciting to hear that we're going to be able to design to also go to the cemetery. I'm imagining it's going to be designed in such a way that we wouldn't have to build that now, but we could build that on later.
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Babbitt Pierce. We do that on most of our projects, including the water campus. When we have them do design, we do it in parts. So we'll have it portioned off to each of the 3 parcels.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Laura?
No, I'm glad to hear that we're sort of seeing how far we can take it out, like designing it to its full capacity. And I'm very excited to hear about a purple pipe fire hydrant.
Yes. Any other comments? Thank you, staff, for really, I'm looking forward to seeing how this designs out and that we've been able to really stretch it much further than we had envisioned. This was a grant that we were like, well, we're not sure we're going to get this grant. And then we got it and we were so excited about it. And so to see that, yes, that reclaimed fire hydrant, water fire hydrant, that's a fabulous idea. So thank you so much for all the work on this. And I think Marnie has a question or a comment.
All right, one more question. I'm imagining we thought about all the other parks and none of the other ones quite make sense, even Caballero? Or is there grass at Caballero? It doesn't have any grass. Okay, never mind. But can you talk to the other parks?
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Babbitt, we have the 220,000 and we believe we can get to the cemetery, but not further than that. And obviously, if we do come with additional funds, but right now is just to get shovel ready for those 3 existing that we're using a lot of the potable currently.
Right. And I believe Caballero does not have any grass. So there's no need.
Correct, but Copper Penny does.
Copper Penny
So,
does.
I mean, there are a lot of other opportunities that we've discussed, but our objective was to get it built and then we can keep adding on to it, but it's getting it built to begin with. So we had applied for a couple of different grants previously to build it, design and build it. That wasn't working for us. So we regrouped And we decided to apply just for design so that we could have it shovel ready, which makes us much more competitive for the construction grants. So just a change in strategy, just to try to make it work.
I'm just so excited about the cemetery. I'm like, well, where else can we go?
You'll be on that side of the road, so it's not that far up to Copper Penny from the cemetery. Okay, any other comments or questions for Lou or town manager on this one? If not, I'll take a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that the council approve the proposal from the town engineer, Ardura, for the design and all engineering for the reclaimed water line for Selnamon Park and Town Park, and authorize the town manager to execute all documents and to approve change orders not to exceed a total budget amount of $220,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember O'Neill and second by Vice Mayor Hunstetter to approve the proposal from Town Engineer Ardura for the design and all engineering for the reclaimed water line as presented. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you so much. We look forward to the design now. Okay, let's move on to item 6D. Item 6D and item 6E are similar. So we'll start with item 6D, which is a public hearing. It's a request to change zoning designation from single-family and limited multifamily residential R2 to commercial C to accommodate the establishment of an arts and wellness center. And I believe Assistant Town Manager Ruth Mayday is here to speak on this. This is a public hearing. Let me just hold on a minute before you speak. This is a public hearing. After Ruth does her presentation, then we will open up to the public for comment. We are in an official public hearing. Okay, so if anybody in the public wants to speak, I will have you come up after the presentation. Okay? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Before you, you have an application from Two Moons LLC for a zone change from the single family and limited multifamily residential to commercial. This property is located on Broadway, close to the boundary with Cottonwood. That area carries a general plan designation of neighborhood commercial. This gives you a little rundown of what is appropriate uses: offices, banks, retail, salons, winery, businesses that meet the daily needs of citizens of the town and generate less traffic than more intense uses like grocery stores or large employment centers. So this request does align with the general plan designation for that area. This gives you a better idea of where neighborhood commercial land use designations lie. And you can see the spot where this project, Penumbra, lies within that land use designation. This property is in very close proximity to several tourist attractions. Tuzagoot is right there. The trail system is in close proximity. The railroad is nearby. And so it really kind of fits this area, which is developing into a more slow tourism oriented use. This is the current zoning. Again, this is R2, which is single family residential, and it includes multifamily residential by right up to four dwelling units in a single structure, which is a fourplex. As many as 48 units could be constructed, and that would bring 24 duplexes. So the lot coverage is 40% in that. So we're talking about a fairly significant coverage of lot area. We also allow density transfers for the terrain in parcels like this, especially where there are washes that are not buildable. This property did previously hold a conditional use permit that was granted quite some time ago. That conditional use permit was granted for the use of the property as a school. It was a massage school, and they did eventually add some other uses to that as part of the conditional use permit. Unfortunately, the uses that you can obtain a conditional use permit for do not include what the applicant is providing, and that's why they have come to us with a request to rezone the property. We can't issue a zoning or a conditional use permit and call it a school when it's clearly not a school. So again, talking about what this project could support, could hold up to 12 fourplexes, or like I said, 24 duplexes. It has a fairly high lot coverage at 40%. The rezoning would allow for a much less intense use. You wouldn't have the fair number or traffic associated with single family or multifamily residential uses. Again, the corridor along Broadway already includes several tourism-oriented uses. We have the hotel, we have the campground, and it's, again, Tuzagoot Road is right there to take you over to Tuzagoot National Monument, our trails, the river. So there are quite a few things going on there that are tourism-oriented. So this is a map of the area. You can see the blue circle is where Penumbra is, and you can see how close it is to Rain Spirit. There's a vacant parcel, and then you're at Tuzagoot. I'm not Tuzagoot, I'm sorry, Tawaki Inn. Typically at this point, I would take any questions that you might have for me. However, the applicant has a very complete presentation that will probably answer a lot of the questions that you have. So I'd like to suggest that we let them present their presentation, and then we can open it up to questions from council at that point.
Correct. Okay, definitely the applicant, come on up and do your presentation. When you do, please just state your name and if you're a Clarkdale resident,
Yes.
and who you are. Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Mayor and Town Council and Town Manager for allowing us to talk to you about our proposal. My name is Novi Trump, and
My name is Eric Flippo.
we are partners in Two Moons LLC, and we bought the property, if you want to go on to the next slide. So we bought the property in 2022. It had been severely neglected, so we did a complete remodel. We did a lot of the work ourselves. I am a Clarkdale resident, and I live right next door. So this is a passion project for me. It is my love. I mean, we put literally thousands of hours into the building and the property. So we initially, what we did was we changed it into 5 apartment suites. So we rent those out on short-term vacation rentals. But our hope had always been to have art and wellness retreats and classes. I have an extensive background in the arts as an administrator and board member of many arts boards and a community builder as well, and the director and founder of an art center as well back east before I moved here 10 years ago. So you can see this. So when we renovated, we were really wanting to create a space that was very respectful of the, sorry, I lose my words sometimes, very respectful of the desert and the environment that it is in. We did everything native plants. We tried to have the least amount of impact on the desert as possible. So as you can see from the next one, so here is one of our, this is Suite 5, which is on the end and looks out over the mountains here. And then the next one, so we use local artist work as well. That's a local artist photography there throughout. This is our handicap accessible suite. So we added an entire handicap parking space, and the entire suite is handicap accessible. I'm really jealous of the bathroom. It is the size of my bedroom at my house. It's really looks. So we also added kitchens so that people could stay longer, and also in hopes of having the retreats and wellness and art retreats later. So people could stay for a week or two. So it sits on 5 acres right above the river. So we added a bocce court and fire pits, and then in anticipation of hopefully one day offering, you can go to the next one. You're so good. Anticipating. We added a yoga deck here. And for example, this was an example of how we try to have as least impact on the land as possible. I took a Tupperware of dirt to the store, and I actually compared it to all the pieces of Trex decking to find one the closest color. So you wouldn't be able to see it from above or from the road. Like it just blends into the desert. And we had so much luck with a really great excavator who was able to excavate down to the inch to keep from, I don't know if you've been to construction sites where everything is just a vast field of mud. So he was able to, do it just to exactly what we needed. So we also added a stone labyrinth, which has been very popular. We also have members of the community come and use that as well. So one of the key factors in making this, one of the things we hear from guests all the time is thank you. We got Christmas cards this year from people who came and stayed, and they tell us all the time how restorative it was. The world is a really noisy place right now, and we wanted a place that provided a respite and a retreat for people. So we do get a lot of that. We get a lot of solo women travelers who come, and so that really made us want to continue and have more offerings for people. If you want to go to the next one. So here are some of the things that we would be offering. So we would have movement classes. We have that gorgeous deck. Really can't do it in the summer, as you all know, which is why we would like to build what is coming next. But we would love to have meditation classes, creativity workshops in writing and music and visual arts, and bodywork therapies. So this is what is existing right now. So you can see we have the yoga deck, the labyrinth, and then the building, and then the parking lot there. So what we would love to add are 4 guest casitas nestled in, and in hopes of not disturbing the neighborhood or the land, the plan would be to have them pre-built, those modern ones that you see that are smaller modular units, working with the town on what would be allowable with a builder, and then have those craned in. So, construction would not take very long, and it would be minimal impact on everyone. So, and then a meeting room / classroom with maybe some treatment rooms in it here, where it's already, that upper area is already excavated out. And there's room to put a small road or trails up there as well. So this would be the ideal for us. The next one is, so what we wanted to show you is a visual of what would be allowed under our current zoning. So if we wanted to, we could sell it tomorrow to a developer. We don't have anybody lined up, but hypothetically, we could sell it to a developer who could put this dense of construction on it right now. Yeah, development on it. So, and we would not like to see that. We would really like to see this be preserved as closely as possible to what it is now. So if you go on to the next one. So the community benefits that we see that we would like to share is that it would enhance the local economy by bringing visitors who would also support different local restaurants and businesses. It would provide opportunities for local artists and wellness protectors and service providers. We actually have had a lot of people who are already excited about that I've spoken to, already lined up, who would really love to be involved in that. And then it would also continue our land stewardship, which would be preserving open space, native plants and local wildlife, and promoting a healthy environment. And then the next one. So, so retreat guests would be coming for relaxation, art, and wellness, so they'd be fairly low impact on the community. It would support mental and physical well-being with yoga, meditation, nature-based experiences. to the community because we're hoping to open it up so locals can come and participate. We would have like a day rate where you could come and be part of a whole week-long workshop, and you'd still be able to participate. And it would focus on sustainability, nature appreciation, and holistic well-being. I know, I'm sorry, it's boring when people read the slides. But so we're really, as I said, we're really hoping for community engagement. Back east, I had a big art center, and our motto was "A rising tide floats all boats." And that is the feeling and motto that I would like to bring to this. So we could offer workshops and wellness programs that neighbors can attend, and there's potential for community use of Labyrinth, Yoga Deck, and other amenities. And then it would strengthen the creative and wellness community here by giving them opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't have. So we really are intent upon investing in our community. Our long-term vision is to create a sustainable, respectful, and community-oriented retreat space for people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your presentation. At this time, we're going to open it up to public comment. It is a public hearing. If you wish to make a comment, please just come up to the podium, state your name, and if you're a Clarkdale resident. Welcome.
Hi, Michael White. Yeah, I live at 680 Raven Hill, right above this property, and it sounds absolutely fabulous. My concern is it being made commercial for whatever comes down the road, and wonder if a conditional use permit wouldn't take care of what they need and not be commercial. So I think that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, response? Ruth, do you want to give a clarification on that?
Sure. So each zoning district in our zoning code has a list of what do we call uses by right or permitted uses, and then also uses for which you can get a conditional use permit. In the R2 zoning district, the only conditional uses can be granted for home occupations, apartments less or greater than 4 dwelling units, churches, synagogues, and other religious institutions, hospitals, public and private schools, daycare centers, cemeteries, and medical marijuana caregiver facilities. So because we limit it to those, we can't, there's nothing here that we can consider this to be. It's the school, when it was Ayurveda yoga, or not yoga, excuse me, massage school, they taught massage classes there. I can't say it's a massage school if they're hosting Airbnb and having yoga and all these other things. We can issue a conditional use permit for campgrounds under the commercial zoning, but that requires it to have the commercial zoning first, then do the conditional use permit. So if we could leave it at R2 and had issued a conditional use permit, that would have been the path that staff would have recommended.
So that basically that just clarifies, because it is currently zoned R2, the list of what could be giving conditional use permits is what you just presented
Correct.
to us.
Correct.
Yes.
So Ruth, you gave us a very clear outline of how much could be built there on R2.
Yep.
What could be built on it commercially?
So there's a long list of things that can be built on it commercially. Let's see, let me go back to the
I'm
beginning.
just trying to get an idea of, space-wise, could it be as many duplexes?
Oh, yeah. It can absolutely be that many duplexes. Residential uses are allowed by right under conditional, under commercial zoning. So it could actually, even if we rezone it, that is a possibility. But I think the applicant has been fairly clear that that's not what they're intending to do.
Thank
And
you.
since we've started talking with them, they've been very consistent about this plan.
Other items that under commercial, other things that it could be used for?
Sure, an amusement place in a completely enclosed building, artist studios, assisted living facilities, automobile, trailer, boat, or farm implement display, bed and breakfast, country inn, commercial trader, vocational schools, community supported agriculture, farmers markets, funeral parlors without cremation, hotels and motels, manufacture, production, and assembly of boutique consumable products, within an enclosed building, medical facilities, licensed inpatient and outpatient, medical marijuana dispensary in a storefront location, museums, park and ride facilities, parking lots, personal service uses, including barbershops and beauty parlors, day spas, dressmakers, tailors, tattoo parlors, and other personal service uses of a similar nature. Professional business offices, including clinics, banks, and financial institutions, and medical dental offices, public garages, including storage and repair, publicly owned or operated park, playground, or building, including public garages and storage yards, religious institutions, repair shops for households, small appliances, bicycles, and personal items, residential uses, including single-family and multifamily, restaurants, taverns, bars, and sidewalk cafes in conformance with Section 4-160, retail sales, including florist shops, greenhouses in connection with such shops, self-service laundry and cleaning establishments, storage facilities in accordance with subsection 1, wholesale establishments and warehouses, including the packaging of consumable products for retail sales distribution. And that is the list of uses by right.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Lisa.
Thank you.
And then I'll go back to public comment.
During the neighborhood meeting,
Mhm.
what did residents say about this?
We received no objections at all. The conversation was positive. By the end of the meeting, everybody understood what was being proposed and supported the idea.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment? Please come on up and state your name and if you're a Clarkdale resident.
Yeah, my name is Christina Ayeni, and I'm a Clarkdale resident since 2017. I've been Novi's neighbor, and I'm very excited for this project. I hope it gets implemented. And yes, I was at that meeting, and indeed, the neighbors were a little confused about this project. So Novi answered all the questions, and it became more clear. And I think, everything that Novi touches turns so beautiful. So if anyone has not seen Penumbra, you should request a visit. It's really beautiful. And I think the town should be really proud to have a property like that here. And I hope it goes through. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public on this? This is your time to speak. Once we close the public hearing, I will not be taking any more public comment.
One more question.
Yes.
Is this property connected to town water and sewer?
No, it is not. It is too far uphill right now for connection to town water and sewer. The sewer and water stop at the campground.
Rain Spirit.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Seeing nobody coming up to the microphone, nobody is online. I will go ahead and close public hearing, and we will move on to item E, which is a request for the zoning designation from single family and limited multifamily residential R2 to commercial to accommodate the establishment of an arts and wellness center. So this is for us to consider, discuss, and act upon that zoning change application number PC 250024 APN 400-07- 0264F, which is 414 Peace Garden Path, Clarkdale, Arizona, a 5.37 acre lot. And this is a request of a change again from R2 to commercial C. So with that, it's in questions or comments from council and any further comments from staff. Yes.
One more question. So my understanding is that a conditional use permit will not accomplish what this has this, yeah?
We can't issue a conditional use permit for this project because the activities that the project is proposing are not in that list of things for which we can issue a CUP in the zoning district.
So we're in the process of cleaning up our zoning right now.
Yes, we are.
So is this something that could be inserted?
Yes.
So if we just waited a while, we could put it in the conditional use permit?
So what we can do, and I have had in other communities, is to simply provide for a conditional use permit and not specify uses. Because conditional uses are what we do to allow a use that's not really allowed, that may not necessarily fit, but would work there. And this is a really good example of one of them.
So we could do it.
We can make that change, yes.
Okay.
We'd
Would
have-
that add a significant amount of time?
It'd add probably about a year.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I do think it's important to note that the Planning Commission approved this unanimously, and they are the folks that we have tasked and asked to really understand this for us and to make recommendations. And so I'd like to take their recommendation.
Laura.
And I guess what I'm just trying to make sure we're clear on, currently, in its current zoning, we could get all of those units that you showed us on that presentation. So that's something we know, that somebody, if you sold the property tomorrow, somebody could come in and do that without having to go through any process, really, because it's a by right build. As a commercial piece of property, if they add the units that they want to add now, we at least know partially what the property would look like in the I'm going to call it short term while you own it, say. How's that? But after that, there is a potential for somebody to come in and do something else with the property because it now has a commercial designation.
Eventually, yes, that could happen. So I want to be clear about the exhibit that the applicant used to show the configuration.
I know it's not exact.
Right,
but
it's
yeah.
not exact. Those would actually be pushed up closer to the front and the Cottonwood side because the back corner of that lot is almost all wash and unbuildable. And our code allows for that density transfer from there to the flatter, more buildable areas.
So it would be more concentrated toward the front of the property that is buildable.
Right, and the side by Raven Hill.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes.
Couple thoughts here. I'm always very conservative about zoning changes, except when they make sense. And in this particular case, first of all, I'd have to say the applicant, we are very fortunate to have an applicant that is so in tune with the aesthetics of the area and how to fit in with the land. There's certainly, well, we've seen demonstrated what they could put there and how they don't want to do that. And to take the dirt down and try and match it to the Trex deck. I mean, I think this applicant has truly demonstrated what they desire to do and how they want to blend in. And I think that what they're proposing is definitely an asset to Clarkdale and to our goals and objectives. And I have to concur with Councilmember Babbitt Pierce that we ask our boards and commissions to do the heavy lifting and make recommendations. And I am prepared to go with the recommendation that they've made.
Any other comments or thoughts or questions for Ruth on this? I want to echo with what both Vice Mayor Hunsetter and Councilmember Babbitt Pierce said on this project. It's thoughtful. It's taking a piece of property that was already in a conditional use setup and giving it some solid footing. I'm not always happy with conditional use permits. Those are just very fluid and unpredictable. At least we have some predictability with a good solid plan. I too am not always big on zoning change, but sometimes land dictates better stuff than what we arbitrarily zoned it for in the first place. So I'm not against it. We have to be thoughtful about this. It fits how that corridor is growing and changing. And of course, it hits my heartstrings because it's focused on artists and engaging local artists, and that's real big. But also, it's a business. It's a business, and it's taking that short-term rental stuff, which we are not always happy about, and really growing it into a business that provides community involvement, engagement, and brings jobs and stuff to our community. To me, that's really, really important. So I too am very pleased with that and respectful of the work that our planning commission did to bring it to us. Any other comments?
Mayor, will you take a motion?
Yes, I will.
I move that we approve a zone change request for application number PC 250-024, APN 400-07-026F, 414 Peace Garden Path, Clarkdale, Arizona, a 5.37 acre lot. A request to change the zoning designation to single family and limited multiple family resident R2 to commercial C to accommodate the establishment of an arts and wellness center.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Vice Mayor Hunsetter and seconded by Councilmember Babbitt Pierce to approve a zoning change request for application number PC-250024 as presented. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you very much for staff for doing the work and for Planning Commission. Please tell them thank you for doing a complete job on this. Okay, let's move on to item 6F, which is, yay, finally the presentation of Bitter Creek Bridge Design Concept Report. Yay. The council, we're getting a presentation from Ardura regarding Bitter Creek design concept. And Lou Anderson is here to present and with our friends from Ardura. Thank you. Yay.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This agenda item supports the following Clarkdale strategic goals. Goal Area 3, strengthen and diversify our economy through cultivating a business-friendly climate for business attraction and strategically capitalizing upon tourism. And Goal 4, plan for the maintenance and growth of quality infrastructure that is sustainable and resilient. As you know, the town was awarded $6.3 million to replace the obsolete 108-year-old Bitter Creek Bridge, and we own property down there, and there's an economic opportunity, as you all know, for that. Luckily, Ardura, you awarded a contract for Ardura to design this project, and they're probably about 35% designed. And today you'll see the DCR And we've got our lead designer, Curtis Crossman from Ardura here to present for you. Thank you.
Welcome,
And-
Curtis.
Mayor,
Just,
Mayor,
yes.
just really quick. We internally have a habit of saying replace, and I just want to stress that where the existing bridge stays,
Yes.
it will be a pedestrian walkway. And we're building another bridge adjacent to it. So, and you all know that, everybody on staff knows that, but if there's a guest in the audience, I don't want them to walk away thinking we're knocking down the old bridge, because that's not happening.
Thank you for that clarification. Yes, yes, we do all know that. But welcome, Curtis. Just state your name and who you're with.
Yes, I'm Curtis Crossman. I'm with Ardura. And I did have another presentation, so I'm wondering if that one got here.
There it is.
No, presentation, the presentation.
Hold on, Curtis.
That's okay. I mean, I can walk through those, but
Take your time, Shell. We'll get there. That's okay.
if not, I can go.
No,
Hey.
hold on a minute. We need a small break anyhow, so. Oh, yeah, see, I just started a trend, so. As anxious as we are, we'll wait a few more minutes on this.
I'm looking for it. I'm looking. It was sent to Charity Brook.
Okay,
Yes.
or was it sent to Lou?
It was sent to Lou as well. Oh. Okay. It's a link.
It's a link, that's great. You're not going to leave them there. We just want
Okay.
everyone to.
Yes.
It'll be in the minute.
It's Canada that now is embarrassing.
We don't have a projector.
Oh, yes. I see. Where's the dog? I do recognize that she can report. Yeah. She's about scarier. I've been trying to get into my computer. That's work. Thank you. You're very welcome. Good luck. We're looking forward to it. I had people stay in our place or. Yeah. And they say it's. Yeah. We're starting to.
Sorry, that's why you called me. I went into the folder and I opened it up, I looked at it and she had it in her presentation folder for me, so. I'll tell her that you called me. You are a lifesaver, thank you. I changed my password and I couldn't remember it, but I remembered it. Okay, it's just taking a minute to refresh. There it is.
I have to tell you
Okay. Okay, here it is. So there are two here, I'm guessing it's 72 meg, is that correct? This one's from the 23rd and that one's from the 20th.
but I was just.
Go back to CR.
Sure. Those are the two that are there. Do you want me to open one or you know?
That is the DC. That's not the presentation for this. Yes, that's what I sent you right now. Sorry. And
So that is what it
yes,
was.
that is that.
Gotcha.
Is there any way I can log in?
Sure. Get like on the website, you're
That's
welcome
right.
to use. Welcome to do whatever you can. Yeah. No, he's working on it. I think just a couple more minutes. I'm not in and I got you.
Oh. They don't allow me. Yep. You see our. Okay.
I can take it in.
Once you start typing, it'll sit down to you.
Check, we're good to go.
Maybe.
Tony's scanning it right now, so it'll be just a minute.
See if you got it.
Oh. Okay. Okay, yeah, there's the scan from Joni. So. Let me see if I can just rotate them. And look at that. Would that be okay? Not ideal? Like this
Did
is
you
what
see the
it'll,
other?
sure,
Just see if it comes in. If
yeah,
it doesn't.
absolutely, absolutely. This is another scan from her, it looks like. Actually just take a minute.
So you just got that one. Just.
Yeah. Right, it does just take a minute. I don't know why she sent it twice. Oh, she tried to send it the right way. Yeah. So, let's see.
We'll just go with that.
Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Oh, my, well, we had a good time. We could.
This over here.
So I had. And do the last two rapidly with her. And then Tammy put her.
Thank you.
Dead boat, who was in front of her little tire, her little tire out. And she was down.
Thank you. Share screen one, share.
But we did have a really good time, a serious still. That needed. Right? There's a dam used to be. That piece of metal sticks out. Oh, it wasn't the piece of metal, but it's right to the right of that. There's rocks there, those rocks change. And somebody,
Try it.
somebody came in. Yeah, somebody came in. Somebody. Yeah, and it was scary. It's sideways and a lot of just, yeah. And then we lose their neighbors.
Oh, okay, let's go ahead. We're back up and everything's ready to go. Okay, Curtis, it's your show.
Okay. Sorry about the delay.
No problem.
All right. We were working on a design concept report for the Bitter Creek Bridge. And let's have okay, so, oh, this isn't. So I think everybody knows where Bitter Creek Bridge is, but we have a project area just to the north of 3rd North Street, and the Bitter Creek, the current bridge is a one-way bridge, and it has some loading restrictions. So what we're looking for is a two-way bridge that doesn't have those same restrictions. We looked at the existing utilities throughout the corridor. And there is an APS overhead line that we'll have to relocate. So we've been in contact with APS. And they also have some fiber up on top, or maybe it's cable, but they'll be relocating as well. And on the bridge, there'll be some conduits within the new bridge for future connections. I believe with the city, there will be room for water and also reuse. But these are all the existing utilities in that corridor. We looked at a 15% design during the DCR. And you can sort of see from the opposite side going across what we envisioned for the improvements. So this is at Miller Road, tying in at that intersection. And coming across, we do have a couple locations where we'll have some drainage improvements. And then the bridge itself, there have been some changes as far as where the there's going to be some lights as well, but the lights are going to be on the new bridge, not the existing historic bridge. The historic bridge, we really are not going to touch. It's going to remain for pedestrian access. And the lights that'll be on the bridge will be on the lower side of the new bridge, so the light configuration would shine both on the existing bridge and the pedestrian bridge. Yes.
Hi, can you just help orient me? The new bridge is going to go downstream of the old bridge. Thank you.
The existing bridge will have pedestrian, bikes. Yes.
Also,
The new bridge would be for vehicular access.
So the lights, are they properly shielded so that people won't get the glare? Or is this too soon, too early?
Yeah, it's kind of too early to dive into that part. Yep.
People obviously be mindful of the dark sky ordinance here, so that we won't be eliminating to the homes.
This is tying into 3rd North Street and showing the bridge itself. And sort of the profile as well. And then tying back to existing conditions.
can you talk a little bit about the new road? It's on the downstream side. But how do you protect, what do you put in between to show that the old bridge is not going to be used anymore? Is there a wall there? Is there ballards there? What do we do there for that transition?
Yeah, so what we'll be doing is the existing asphalt, there'll be some of the asphalt that'll be saw cut. There will be a emergency access way. So if there was something on the bridge that was blocked and you had to get emergency vehicles on the other side for some reason, you could access it, but we'll have bollards, removable bollards up to prevent vehicles from just driving over that. So on an emergency vehicle, emergency use, emergency vehicles could access it. But typically, normal vehicles would not go over that.
Lou?
And if I may, Mayor, to also answer your question, beneath the bridge, we'll have gabion baskets. Will look similar to what they have at Tawaki Inn to ensure the stabilization of the sides of the wash.
Okay. I just think it's important to know how we're transitioning from, because they're right next to each other there, and what kind of safety precautions we're going to have for that to be a safe area for people to walk on and to get to for bicycling, to have events there, because it's right next to a road, the new road that's going to have cars on it or trucks.
During the DCR, we didn't have this, but the public meeting, do have some renderings and we have those bollards shown on that.
Okay,
So if you stay after, you can see that, but I don't have that on this presentation.
okay, yeah. Thank you. Yes.
At this intersection, will the traffic change any, or will it still just be the stop sign at the top of Third North?
We anticipated just the stop sign on Third North.
Thank you.
Okay, this
Next
isn't
slide,
working.
Shel.
Next slide.
There we go.
As we looked at the bridge, we also had to take into account the drainage. And we looked at whether or not we needed to do a LOMAR or CLOMAR conditional letter of map revision. That would go through FEMA. It could take a pretty long time, be a little more expensive. We did have time, but it is a federal process. We went and talked to the county flood control district, and they said if you had a no rise condition in the flood zone, then basically that would mean if during the 100-year event, if you could show that the 100-year event did not change the height of the water, then you could proceed with the county, and the county would approve the drainage reports. So we worked with the bridge. We worked with putting in some improvements within the channel to make sure that that we had a no rise situation in the flood zone. So this sort of shows the different heights of the flood zone. So we can get that approval through the floods, the county flood control. We looked at different types of bridges. We looked at 3 different types of bridges. One, if you had just one span. Problem with that is getting a single span here. You have a lot of roundabouts getting to Clarkdale, getting through the town, and it just wasn't a viable solution. So then we looked at building a box in, or building the girders in place, and or having those having a 2-span precast span here. And the precast dual span was ultimately it was ultimately cheaper, and it's also less of a risk. Having it built on site, it would take longer. You would have a little bit more risk involved. Having it built in place, you can, just having all the false work in place in the Bitter Creek Bridge. If there was a flood or something like that, there is a risk involved in something occurring that wouldn't be good. So we went with option 2, a precast dual span was our recommendation, and it happened to be cheaper as well. So this is a cross section of the bridge, actually a plan and profile of the bridge that we recommended. And then when we looked at the 3 different options, we looked at cost, and overall that preferred option was the cheapest, which was about, at the time, it was $3.8 million. Oops, and our schedule, I had our proposed schedule is shown there. We have that pretty much through to April of 2027. There's any more detail on that, but the plans should be completed by about the end of this year, is what we're showing. No, calendar year.
Okay. Any questions for Curtis? I'm sure we have lots of questions, but we know we're only at 35%. So, but that's pretty far along in this. Any questions for Lou or Curtis? Yes.
This is probably way early in the process, but I'm just curious, will there be any aesthetic details to the bridge to make it complement the existing
Yeah,
one?
if-
Any decorative elements or anything like that?
If you could go back to that first slide. One of the things that we were looking at is how we can make that existing bridge. You can't really, this slide doesn't show it. And that slide doesn't show it, but on the bridge itself, there are some decorative elements on the
Mhm.
outside. There's some little triangle or what are the diamonds. We're trying to show that on the piers and mirror that on there on the new bridge. And then we'll have the lighting. The lightings should be matching the Selma Mangini type of lighting that's going in there.
Right.
There are some renderings also available afterwards.
When we finish up the council meeting, we'll come in there and start asking some more questions.
And I
I'm
guess I
sure.
didn't show, but yes, Lou was talking about, one of the things that we needed to do for that drainage. We'll have to put, in order for us to get that no rise, we have to put that riprap underneath.
Right.
So that riprap continues from this existing bridge. It continues on down, below the new bridge as well.
Right. Lou.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Also wanted to mention that this is actually around the 15% design level. Curtis has taken this to the 60% design level, and I apologize for bringing it to you tardy, but we've been working on this and also working on our third North Sewer project. So we really wanted to get that further advanced, but we're at about 60, and he does, for the public meeting, he does have some very good renderings of what
Okay.
it'll look like and probably answer some more of those types of questions.
Right. Yeah, I knew we were further along, so, and I knew why this had to be in connection to what we were doing on Third North, and we did need to get that one underway.
Yes, ma'am. And I kept telling Curtis, slow down a little bit, slow down, but he's rolling. Once we got the no adverse impact from the county, that was really good news that they could show that there was no rise in the Bitter Creek with this construction. And so that helped expedite. So we're on schedule.
Yeah, that's great news. Get it done. We've been waiting for this for a long time, and we know it's time to be out in the public for discussion and stuff. So I appreciate moving this project along as best as we could. Yes.
I did have one question about the budget. So you said at the time when those numbers were run, the option that is being recommended was like 3.6 million. And we know we have a lot more money. So I'm imagining design was part of it. I guess my question is, are we going to make the budget with all those things?
Well,
Yes. Yes.
we are.
That's correct. We've been earning quite a bit of interest on the money, and it is sequestered in its own line item. So those funds do not get used on any other project. They're just added to the project budget.
Right.
So right now, we have not gotten to a point where I'm concerned that we're out of line. I mean, what happens in the next year of design, finishing everything up? I wish I had a crystal ball, but right now we're looking okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions or comments for Lou or Curtis on this? I'm sure we can have more discussion when we go over to the other part of the room after we can adjourn the meeting. So I appreciate bringing this forward. we can now have some good public discussion on it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both. Okay, next item on the budget or on the agenda is future agenda items. I believe we have somewhat of a list from Charity that was at our place. We have just a few items for our next meeting, but I'm sure there will be other stuff added. Any items that we don't have on here that you would like to bring up? Hearing none, I'll take a motion then to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Babbitt Pearson, second by Vice Mayor Hunsetter to adjourn the meeting at 4:55 PM. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We are adjourned, and we are now going to go over to the other side to talk more about this bridge.